The Bills Mafia is buzzing as we step into Week 8, and there's plenty to talk about. The Buffalo Bills are back on the field, and the big question is which injured stars might finally make their return. From Max Harrison to Dalton Kincaid, and from Matt Milano to a few surprise names, we've got critical updates as the team releases its first official practice report of the week. Let's start with the list of players who did not practice on Wednesday. As expected, two key names stood out: defensive tackle Daquan Jones and wide receiver Josh Palmer. Head coach Sean McDermott described both players as week to week, following the team's tough loss to the Atlanta Falcons. That's not exactly the reassurance fans were hoping for. Adding to the mix, there's a new name on the injury report, one that traces back to training camp. McDermott mentioned that Palmer's ongoing knee issue continues to be monitored, saying, "We'll see on their availability to play this week, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that." Not the kind of tone that suggests a quick comeback. Before listening to the latest news, subscribe to the channel, like it, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Let's move on to the new news. Now about Taylor Rapp. This situation deserves a closer look. It seems Rapp has been managing a knee injury that originated during training camp, and that could explain a lot. Since July and August, the defensive back hasn't looked like his usual self. The quickness, the physicality, the confidence, all appear a step slower. When you look at the tape, Rapp isn't covering the deep zones with his usual range, and his tackling has been inconsistent near the line of scrimmage. Normally known as a downhill force who blows up running lanes, he's struggled to maintain that level of impact. Could that lingering knee injury be the root cause? It's a fair question, and one the Bills need to answer fast if they hope to stabilize their secondary heading into the second half of the season. Something is off, and it's impossible to ignore. When you dig into Taylor Rapp's tackling numbers over the past 5 seasons, one thing jumps out like a flashing red light: 2025 is a complete outlier. His missed tackle rate has skyrocketed to an alarming level, nearly 25%, a massive jump from the 3 to 6% range he's maintained throughout his career. That's not just a bad stretch, that's a fundamental problem. For a player once known as a reliable open-field stopper, these numbers tell a troubling story. Whether it's the lingering knee injury from training camp or a deeper decline in performance, something's clearly holding Rapp back. He's missed more tackles this year than in any full season he's ever played. That's not a slump, that's a collapse in form, and it's hurting the Bills' defense. This kind of regression forces coaches to make tough decisions. And right now, it feels like Sean McDermott might be making one quietly. When a veteran safety suddenly sees reduced snaps, especially in key moments, it often signals a soft benching. Rapp's injury is real, no doubt, but timing matters. With Buffalo's secondary struggling to keep offenses in check, a change might be less about health and more about accountability. That's where opportunity comes knocking for the younger players. Rookie defensive back Jordan Hancock could be next in line for real playing time. He flashed potential during the preseason, playing both in the nickel and over the top, and showed he can tackle with confidence. Despite limited regular season action, Hancock's instincts and energy could give this unit the spark it desperately needs. At the same time, Jordan Poyer's presence on the active roster becomes even more crucial. With DeMar Hamlin sidelined and depth running thin, Poyer's veteran leadership and awareness might stabilize things at the back end. Expect Cam Lewis to rotate in as well, especially in hybrid roles where Buffalo needs a balance of speed and tackling reliability. This is a defining stretch for the Bills' secondary. The unit that once set the tone is now searching for answers, and the coaching staff seems ready to shuffle the pieces. Whether Rapp's decline is injury-driven or performance-based, the message is clear: in Buffalo, every snap must be earned. As Buffalo inches deeper into the season, the question hanging over the defense is simple yet critical: who steps up if Taylor Rapp can't go? Do the Bills hand the keys to the young gun, Jordan Hancock, and embrace the future, or do they turn to a veteran presence like Jordan Poyer who knows the system inside and out? Either way, the coaching staff faces a delicate balance between experience and potential, and Week 8 could offer the first glimpse of that decision in action. Now, let's shift to the real headline: Max Harrison's long-awaited return to practice. The Bills' first-round rookie corner is back on the field, and his 21-day practice window has officially opened following his stint on injured reserve. The energy around the facility instantly changed the moment he suited up again. From the clips and reports coming out of Orchard Park, Harrison looked sharp, moving fluidly, showing burst, and displaying the kind of balance that made him a first-round selection in the first place. He's still wearing a knee brace, smaller than before, purely for precaution. The team remains cautious, as sprained LCL injuries are notorious for re-aggravation if rushed. Buffalo's training staff appears to be taking a measured approach, giving Harrison time to regain confidence and rhythm rather than forcing a premature return. Observers from practice described his movement as promising. His lateral quickness and straight-line speed looked nearly back to form, though there was a slight stiffness noticeable when he planted and changed direction. That could simply be the brace doing its job, limiting range to prevent further strain. Head coach Sean McDermott summed it up perfectly. It's 50% mental, getting him back up to speed. Harrison himself echoed that sentiment, revealing a level of maturity beyond his years. I was able to look from a different perspective, he said. Being off the field gave me a chance to study the game differently, to learn how our defense reacts, how offenses adjust, and to see it all unfold in real time. I've stayed mentally sharp, even when I couldn't be out there. It's a powerful statement from a young player who's had to sit and watch while his team battled through adversity. The Bills are clearly encouraged by his progress, but Week 8 might still be too soon. The expectation internally is that Harrison could be fully game-ready by the end of his practice window, which means a return just around the corner if his recovery stays on track. For a defense that's been fighting through inconsistency and injuries, Harrison's return could be the boost they've been waiting for. His instincts, length, and ball skills were a major part of Buffalo's preseason plans, and getting him back healthy could help stabilize the secondary as the team pushes toward the crucial midseason stretch. What Max Harrison said after returning to the field tells you everything about who he's becoming, not just as a player, but as a professional. I learned how much I truly love this game, he explained. Watching from the sidelines was tough, but it made me grow up. I realized it's not all about me. Even though I couldn't play, I tried to help in any way I could. That kind of mindset is exactly what the Buffalo Bills need right now: accountability, maturity, and a hunger to contribute. Harrison's perspective shows he's using his time away to strengthen his mental game, and when you combine that with his natural talent, the Bills might be looking at a cornerstone player for their future secondary. Still, the urgency in Buffalo's defensive room can't be ignored. The team needs a true boundary corner capable of matching elite wideouts one-on-one, something that's been missing since the decline of Tre'Davious White. It's hard to admit, but White's recent performances haven't reached the level fans once expected. Opposing offenses have begun to exploit that weakness, and it's putting added pressure on Christian Benford and Taron Johnson to compensate on their side of the field. That ripple effect is real. When one cornerback struggles, the entire defensive backfield feels it. Coverages tighten, spacing shrinks, and play calling gets cautious. The Bills know this, and that's why Harrison's return means more than just filling a roster spot. He represents stability, athleticism, and hope for a secondary that's been searching for its rhythm. Still, Sean McDermott isn't rushing anything. The head coach made it clear they'll manage expectations carefully. He's missed a ton of time and a ton of reps. He's a rookie who hasn't taken a live NFL snap yet. That measured approach makes sense. Buffalo can't afford another setback for a player this promising. The plan seems clear: get Harrison to full health, reintroduce him gradually, and let him build chemistry within a defense that still believes it's championship caliber. Because when this team is 100% healthy, the ceiling remains sky-high. The Buffalo Bills aren't just trying to survive Week 8, they're trying to position themselves for a Super Bowl run. And that starts with getting their young playmakers, like Harrison, back where they belong, on the field, ready to make an impact. Coming up next, there are still more injury developments on the horizon. A few key players remain limited in practice, and several others are inching closer to a return from injured reserve. Those updates could shape the Bills' lineup for the weeks ahead, and possibly redefine their mid-season push. Let's get back to the real story, the health of this Buffalo Bills roster, because that's what truly matters for this team's championship hopes. One of the most concerning names still on the injury list is Matt Milano, who continues to battle his way back from that difficult pectoral injury. This is where things get complicated. A pectoral issue, especially for a linebacker like Milano, isn't just about strength, it's about trust in your body. Every tackle, every shove, every collision puts pressure on that muscle. And when your game relies on explosion and aggression, you can't afford hesitation. Buffalo's coaching and medical staff are being extremely cautious with Milano's recovery, and rightly so.